So today this is a math lesson and we are starting a new chapter on measuring in a new system or new units of measurement. And we are going to be looking at temperature today. So I have a picture here and, well, 3 pictures, and I want you to look really closely at them. If you can, maybe I can bring it up closer. Look at the different pictures and notice that each picture has the same man holding the same type of tool, and he's standing in front of a tree. Now we're going to be looking at the types of temperatures that are represented in each of these pictures. So, how do we measure temperature? Do you guys remember that from a couple months ago? We measure it in a thermometer, not in, but we usually use a thermometer to measure temperature. And we normally find that number and we say, oh, it is 35 degrees outside or inside or wherever you are. So today we're going to be measuring things with degrees, but instead of using Fahrenheit like we've used before, we're going to be looking at this special word right here. That's called Celsius. We're going to be measuring temperature in Celsius. So let's look at this first picture. What can we describe this first picture as? It looks kind of cold, right? There's no leaves on the trees. The guy has a jacket on. He's all bundled up, and it appears to be cold. There's even some snow on the ground, right? There's no grass. So if we were to look at that right over here and look at our Celsius and how cold that is, we can see that it measures right up to 0 Celsius. So when we measure in Celsius, we usually say whatever the mercury goes up to, then we look at the number and we say that is 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's how we're going to read it. Let's look at the next picture. In this one, the man does not have a coat on anymore, and it looks like it's springtime because there's a bunch of flowers and there's starting to be some grass there. Let's look at the temperature in Celsius here. How has it changed? It was at 0 and now it's at, can you see it? It's at about 15 degrees Celsius. Now let's look at the next one. Let me scoot a little bit closer. In this picture, the guy is dressed even less. He has short sleeves on now, and it's fully green. Looks like it's summertime. There's even, I guess those are apples or oranges, and there's more grass on the ground, and the temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. That is pretty warm. So we're going to be looking at the different types of measurements or the different types of temperature in Celsius today. So let's talk about those 3 different degrees. I have them right here on my board. And so the first picture we had was at 0 degrees, right? 0 degrees Celsius. The second one was at 15 and the third one was at 30. So the first one, 0 degrees, that little bubble right there, represents degrees. 0 degrees Celsius, that's how we read it. That represents a cold temperature. It's cold outside. The man has to wear a coat. The second temperature was 15 degrees Celsius. That is represented by mild. And you might be like, what does mild mean? Mild is another word for warm. So the picture of springtime, it looks a little bit warm out, right? He doesn't have to wear a coat, and it's getting a little bit nicer out. The last one, where it's 30 degrees Celsius, is hot. That is when everything is super nice out, and you can go swimming and all kinds of stuff. So if you were to look at these 3 different temperatures, hold it up here. Let's think about some things that we can do when it's this type of temperature outside. What are some things that we would do when it's this cold outside, 0 degrees Celsius? off the top of my head, I can think of ice skating. I can think of sledding. Or maybe even having a snowball fight, right? Because when it's freezing cold, when it's 0 degrees Celsius, that's really cold. What are some things that we would do outside if it was 15 degrees Celsius? Remember, it's springtime. When it's 15 degrees Celsius, it's normally springtime, or it could be fall. So you might be seen playing soccer or raking leaves. Those are some different things that you would do when it's 15 degrees Celsius. Then when it is 30 degrees Celsius or around that temperature and it's hot, you might go swimming, you might only want to wear shorts and flip-flops all the time. So that's kind of how you can remember the 3 different types. So let's look. I have a thermometer right here. Let's look at the different measurements right on our thermometer. So we've already learned a couple months ago the degrees in Fahrenheit. We've already talked about that. We're not looking at Fahrenheit today. We're looking at Celsius. So if something is 0 degrees Celsius, our mercury would rise up to the 0 mark. Now that is cold, remember, and it's cold outside when it's 0. What happens if it got even colder? So it's no longer 0, but let's say that it got like freezing cold, so you don't even want to go outside. This is bearable. You can put just a coat on and run outside and have a snowball fight. But what happens if it's so cold outside that you don't even want to go out? Would our mercury go up or would it go down? What do you think? It would go down, right? If it was really cold outside, our mercury level would go down. So we can remember that if the mercury, sorry, this is all over the place. If the mercury goes down, it's getting colder. And if it goes up, the temperature is getting hotter. Now let's put our mercury at the 15 mark. Do you guys remember how to do this? Remember, if this is 10 right here, we can count by 5s. The line in the middle between 10 and 20 represents 5 more. So 10, 15, and then this would be 20. So here we have 15 degrees Celsius. And remember, that was mild or warm outside. Now let's say that it got 5 degrees Celsius hotter out. Would our mercury go up or go down? Think about it just for a second. 5 degrees hotter. It would go up. Boom, 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 boom. From 15 to 20. We're going to count on 5 degrees hotter or warmer. Boom, to 20 degrees. What happens if it got 5 degrees colder from 15? So you're playing outside, it's nice out, it's springtime, and all of a sudden the temperature drops. And it's cold. It would go down, right? The mercury falls when it gets colder, and it rises when it gets hotter. All right? Okay. So today, what you guys are going to be doing is you're going to be looking at some of these different pictures, and you are going to decide, is it cold out? Is it hot out? Is it warm out? Is it mild? You're going to be deciding weather-related activities and what temperature matches to them. So that's one thing you're going to do. Another thing that you're going to be doing is identifying 10 degrees more and 10 degrees less. So let's say that you had 0 degrees Celsius and someone says it gets 10 degrees colder. You're going to be dropping it down, whoops, where am I? To -10. From 0, and we're counting down even further, -10. Or if we're at 0 and they say add 10 degrees more, or it gets 10 degrees warmer, you'd go up 10. So that's how you can add 10 degrees or take away 10 degrees. Just go up or down. So adding would go up, taking away or subtracting would go down. Okay, hopefully this makes sense for you and you understand it a little bit better than me just sending a random video for you guys. But in your math assignment today, you're going to be seeing a lot of different things with Celsius. And remember that we're not working with Fahrenheit, we're working with Celsius. So make sure that you focus on the one that has the C for Celsius, not the Fahrenheit. I do want to show you one more trick though. These two thermometers are lined up right next to each other. And it's also very similar to my actual thermometer here. So if this side says Celsius and this side says Fahrenheit, all of the numbers above the C go with Celsius, and on this side all the numbers above the F go with Fahrenheit. So let's look at what temperature it is right now inside my house. For Celsius first. You see it? It's a little bit above 20. I think that says 22 maybe. So 22 degrees Celsius. That is the exact same as 71 degrees Fahrenheit. See that? So you can actually read them in both types of degrees. So that's tricky, isn't it? Okay. So I want you to attempt your assignment. If you want to rewatch this video to understand it a little bit more, you may, but have an awesome day.